today about to be reacting to. Why would a most wanted fugitive turn himself in? Hey man, that's a great question that we gonna find out together.
Why would a man on the FBI's most wanted list ever turn himself in? He's accused of not only being a major drug trafficker and high-ranking member of the Sinaloa cartel, but he's also accused of at least 2 murders. Any one of these accusations, if proven,
Bro, he
could put him
about to be under the jail. Now, honestly, I'd say he was probably tired of running. He's probably tired with the cartel. Not like tired of the cartel, but he probably just gonna go be a plug inside of jail. Who knows? Well, let's see what he's
federal
talking
prison
about.
for the rest of his life. He's potentially a billionaire, and his wife and 2 girlfriends launder so much money for him that they got put on the U.S. sanction list. And
Wife
according to
and
the
2
U.S., he was
girlfriends.
being protected by the Sinaloa cartel. So,
That boy
what is he, an
living, ain't he?
informant or something?
We're in a wire? You're setting me up?
Because that's immediately what I thought when I realized that he wasn't caught and that he, in fact, just walked into the U.S. Embassy in Mexico City and
Maybe they need a plug on the inside. Who knows?
surrendered. But CBC News in Canada interviewed a man identified as a Sinaloa cartel operative just a month before Ryan Wedding was taken into custody. And the operative said he did not believe that Wedding was being protected by the Sinaloa cartel or that he was in Mexico City, because Mexico City is the most surveilled city in the country. Which is interesting, not only because Mexico City is precisely where Ryan Wedding was when he got arrested, but in 2018, the Sinaloa cartel hacked into the camera system of Mexico's most surveilled city and used it to follow an FBI official as he met up with people of interest, with some of these people being informants. Which is terrifying. If you're the FBI agent
You
going
can't even be a foreman in peace. Jesus. Hey, the cartel can get your neck, boy.
what you believe are secret meetups,
Boy.
when in reality, you're being watched by a very dangerous group. But of course, I guess in that field, you should already suspect that could be a possibility.
No creo que esté protegido por el cartel de Sinaloa, ni que esté en la Ciudad de México tampoco, siendo que la Ciudad de México es de las... Al momento de agarrarlo, ahí vas a sacar la noticia grande, pues. Y lo van a inflar como una noticia
For them
gigante.
to
But
be
as
the
for the-
most surveilled city, and for them to have the cartel the way that they got the cartel, hey, that's kind of amazing. You know, ain't no word to describe that. That's crazy, bro.
It's
they
hard to
doing
tell if
that
he's
under their
lying because,
eyes.
of course, it would be stupid to admit on camera that a man on the FBI's most wanted list is being protected by your people, or if he genuinely believes the US hyped up Ryan to be a bigger target than he already was, which he claims was done so that when Ryan was finally captured, it would be a big news story, like it was. But he almost sounds as if he expected this to happen, which, sure, once Ryan's name appeared on the FBI's most wanted list, it was only a matter of time anyway. He had already been running his part of what the FBI calls a billion-dollar operation since 2011, but he's only been on the
Dang,
most
he been
wanted
on the
list
run since 2011? He had a good run.
since 2025. So why turn yourself in? Did he just give up? Or did he believe he would be able to make a deal? And if so, what kind of deal? The FBI
Oh, they
likely
said
wants
he
information
snitching.
and names.
Uh-oh,
Names,
that boy telling. Hey, they about to get him.
surely mark
Either
him for
the
death if he
FBI or the CIA, one of them.
Yeah, get out of
Not
prison.
CIA, FBI or the cartel, one of them.
maybe he could give up some names. Because while the FBI calls him a high-ranking member of the Sinaloa cartel, the Sinaloa is not the same as it was when Ryan first came to Mexico. It's very well known that the cartel actually split into 2 rival factions that are at war with each other. If
Really?
Wedding did manage to ally himself with one side after the split, that would mean he has information on both sides of the conflict. So in theory, he could give up information on the rival faction without throwing his allies under the bus.
So he about to go tell and get immunity.
If he did pick a side, the other guys would want to kill him anyway. But even so, would that be worth turning yourself in when the FBI is clearly going to parade you like a cartel leader? Primarily because in January 2025, the FBI accuses Ryan, along with other men, of killing a federal witness in Medellin, Colombia. And this witness has been identified as Jonathan Acevedo Garcia. And Jonathan was only able to become a cooperating witness because he was part of Ryan's operation. Because according to the FBI, after being grown in Colombia, the product will be sent to Mexico City, then Sinaloa, and LA, before finally making it to Canada and Toronto, and then Montreal, which is where Jonathan operated. And his murder wasn't just a case of cartel brutality. This murder was allegedly committed on the advice of a Toronto lawyer, who literally goes by the name Cocaine Lawyer on social.
Bro, this sound like some power stuff, like some some movie stuff for real, for real. Like 50 Cent wrote this himself, don't it? Life is crazy,
Now,
bro.
corrupt or not, this is a man with a law degree that allegedly told Wedding the case would be dismissed if he killed a witness. And according to LA Mag, an associate of Wedding reached out to the Dirty News, which is a Canadian blog centered on organized crime in Canada. And this associate allegedly sent the blog a picture of Jonathan with a $10,000 payment to have the blog post Jonathan's picture and call him a snitch, while also agreeing to keep Ryan Wedding's face off the website. And the Dirty News was a trusted source that provided deep insight into organized crime all over Canada. And I've even used them as a source on certain information in my Asian Gangs of Canada video. But the last time I visited the blog, I was met with this message, saying that it had been seized by law enforcement, which I didn't understand at first, but it says the blog was taken down as part of Operation Slalom. Which makes sense, as that is the name of the sport Ryan Wedding competed in for the 2002 Winter Olympics. But if the cocaine lawyer did advise Ryan to get rid of a witness and suggest the case would be dismissed if he did so, could that be the reason he turned himself in? Because if this is true, then the lawyer must have believed the FBI had a weak case, even though Jonathan has supposedly been in contact with the...
If the FBI had a weak case, then why send him on a mission to hit a witness? Or with you all this power, why not send somebody else to go hit the witness? I ain't no, you know what I'm saying, no thug or nothing, but
FBI for around a year before his death.
Man.
Now, the U.S. government frames the surrender of Wedding as the result of...
These are the professionals. Who am I to tell a professional how to do their job? Come on, bro.
Pressure applied by Mexican and U.S. law enforcement. However, according to a security analyst that regularly appears in Mexican media, through conversations with his sources in Mexican security and law enforcement, he claims that the surrender instead came through negotiations and that the FBI director, Kash Patel, traveled to Mexico City at the time Wedding agreed to surrender to make it look like it was all thanks to him. Which apparently isn't true, at least according to the analyst, CBC News in Canada, and even ABC News in the US seem to be aware of this. And all of this would kind of coincide with the Sinaloa cartel operative insisting that Ryan Wedding's capture would be more of a show than something actually meaningful. It also doesn't help the narrative pushed by some, including a former FBI.
So they saying it's a publicity stunt. They sound like they just saying that he's not ranked as high as they saying that he is, but they gave him that rank just to see that just to say that they got something. You know what I'm saying? So it don't look like they not doing nothing, or they just completely off the trail. That's what it looks like.
That Patel is kind of bad at his job, and this whole situation kind of reminds me of an American man who, like Wedding, is a foreigner that held a position in a Mexican
He look like Jokic, don't he? That's not funny, bro. Don't he look like Jokic? They got Jokic.
And he's known as La Barbie, which is due to his blue eyes. And in the 2 years leading up to his arrest, he provided information to the DEA and the FBI. And although he isn't considered to be an informant against the cartel he was working for, he did provide the U.S. with crucial information about corrupt Mexican officials who revealed the identities of DEA agents working in Mexico to his cartel and the Sinaloa cartel. And despite this leaking information from corrupt Mexican officials possibly resulting in the death of a DEA agent, none of this seemed to help Barbie, as he was still sentenced to nearly 50 years in prison. But he probably wasn't advised to do any of this by a lawyer, or at least he wasn't reported to. And that takes us back to the cocaine lawyer, which again is what he called himself. If the prosecution wanted
Here you go, baby. Here, give it to your mama. Here, give it to mama. Thank you.
Wedding as a ruthless drug lord, surely it would fit the narrative more if getting rid of the witness was his idea. But the lawyer was actually charged for his alleged role in the plot as the one who advised it.
Really?
But after offering over $5 million, he was granted bail in Canada despite the fact that he was facing extradition to the United States, which is pretty crazy.
Oh my goodness.
Considering the fact that he's being accused of conspiracy to commit murder. And the Attorney General even states that the evidence against him is overwhelming. But could this just be a bluff? The lawyer doesn't go by that nickname for no reason. He specializes in cases involving drug traffickers, and he's been a lawyer for 30 years. So was his alleged statement to Wedding correct? And does the FBI have a weak case? Kash Patel called Wedding a modern-day Pablo Escobar, which seems like an exaggeration. For one, he was...
They definitely trying to oversee, like, you know what I'm saying? They trying to grab somebody from a lower rank, gas him up to make it seem like they just got the next Pablo, the next El Chapo, the next, you know what I'm saying, the next big thing. Because they're on a wild goose chase and they can't find nothing right now. That's what it sounds like, though. That's what it sounds like. That's exactly what it
foreigner
sounds
in
like.
Mexico. So unlike Escobar, who actually was the head of a cartel, it's hard for me to believe that Wedding outranked most people in either faction of the Sinaloa cartel. Just like my Asian
Man, the
gangs in
cartel
Mexico
been around
video, where I
forever,
covered the
bro.
Chinese money launderers working with certain Mexican cartels, Wedding may have been respected and indeed held some position of authority, but to suggest he was like Pablo Escobar seems a bit too far. Now, a guy
Awfully
named
far.
Owen Hansen, an American that trafficked tons of drugs for the Sinaloa cartel in both Australia and the United States, managed to only serve 7 of the 21 years he was sentenced after cooperating with authorities.
Now that's a deal right there. Y'all telling? I mean, me personally, hell yeah, I got a whole family to go home to. Right? Ain't anybody sitting in front of you, especially if it's something I ain't do, or I can get. What? Come on.
In both countries. But unlike Ryan, he wasn't accused of any violent crime. So the FBI having a weak case on the murder of their witness seems to be the only way Ryan can avoid a life sentence. And that's only if he cooperates. But the fact that every report about his arrest state that there were some negotiations involved, I have to wonder what the terms were. You would think they must have been pretty favorable for him to turn himself in, because the fact that he was able to move around Mexico
sure.
freely for so long means that he very well could have continued as a free man, although on the run for the rest of his life. But only time will tell, I guess, as even one of El Chapo's sons, Joaquin, is expected to avoid a life sentence as part of his plea deal with the US government and an agreement.
Dang, they got El Chapo's son out here copping, please. Pays $80 million.
Pay $80 million. But this case will either play out really fast or
Boy.
really slow. And either way it ends, I'm sure questions will still remain. But thank you guys for watching this.
Man, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. Honestly, bro, I think he turned himself in because, you know what I'm saying? He tired of running. Or they cut him a deal that he just couldn't refuse. Gave him a significant amount of time, like way less time than what was needed to give information on both sides. But no, let me know what y'all think down in the comments below. I'm gonna catch you niggas in the next one. Yes, sir.